Las Vegas instructor and MMA fighter, David the Pitbull Diaz.
How's it going, man?
Hello, sir.
Nice to meet you.
So we want to talk. I want to talk about experiences and things that you had in your life that are most memorable for you. So let's start. Let's start for the basics. Where were you born and where?
I was born in 1982, Cúcuta, Colombia. That's in South America.
When did you come here to the United States?
Oh man, I came here real small. I turned 1 here. I moved to the state of New Jersey. I lived in New Jersey till I was 11. Then I moved down to Miami.
Any other places you went other than that?
When I was 23, I moved to the state of Nevada. I lived in Las Vegas, which is where I live at now. And I'm back down here in Miami now visiting. But yeah, currently right now I live in the state of Nevada, Las Vegas.
So how old are you now?
Does that have to go on public record? Yeah. I'm 28.
What's your MMA record?
2-2 now officially. I'm still an amateur. I just fought last weekend. This kid, and it was a good fight. Just fought. I lost. It was a couple of things that needed to get fixed on the show. The referees, the guy was hitting me illegal blows to the back of the head. They stopped the fight, and the guy still won. So, but now I'm 2-2.
So, what was the order of the 2-2? Was it?
I fought my first fight. I was still a white belt in jiu-jitsu, and I wasn't supposed to fight. I went against my instructors after he told me not to. Still did it. I lost my first fight by decision. My second fight, I fought and I won by unanimous decision. My third fight, I won by unanimous decision, and now this fourth fight, I lost.
So let's talk about how you started the whole thing about MMA and jiu-jitsu. How do you start the whole thing?
I had moved to Vegas back in 2006. And I was working for this company called Toy World of Nevada, which was selling, toys, going to business, selling toys. And I walked into this gym. It was called Zion's Training Center. And it was back then on Flamingo and Spring Mountain. Oh no, excuse me, Spring Mountain and Durango. And I walked in, and I was stoked from the moment I walked in. I've always liked fighting. I've always wanted to get involved in the sport ever since I saw, the first UFC with Carlson Gracie. And I just wanted to do this, and I asked how much it cost, and they explained everything to me, and then I came back 2 months later when I was better financially, and I joined the gym, and I've been doing it ever since.
What were your first thoughts when you enter the sport?
I get to beat up people without getting in trouble for it.
What was your life before MMA sport?
Before I got into jiu-jitsu and MMA, my life was in the biggest hole ever. I mean, I've gotten into a lot of trouble when I was a kid, here in Miami. I went to jail, I did drugs, I gangbanged. I was just the biggest loser you could be,
So, talking about that, how do you get your nickname Pitbull?
My nickname, I got that I was in prison. And I got into a fight with this guy, and he was much bigger than me, and I grabbed him, I took him down, and I didn't get off him. So everybody in the yard, they started saying, man, you're like a little pit bull. Once you grab somebody, you don't let them go, and it's just started sticking. Every time I walked out to the yard, everybody was saying, hey, what's up, pit bull, what's up, pit bull? And plus, I like pit bulls. I own 5 pit bulls, back in Vegas. So I love those dogs.
So how was your experience in school?
School was good. I was always the life of my school, I was always the kid clowning, always laughing, always with the girls, always popular, but I was also the one that, I skipped school, my grades were always good, but I was just a knucklehead, I got into a lot of trouble.
So the kids that I see or that people see now are people that you described as you before. What would you tell those kids?
It's not worth it, man. It's all fun at first. It's all fun and games at first, man, but at the end, when you're in that point of your life that now you have to do something with it, it's too late because you have a record. A lot of doors get slammed in your face because of your mistakes, and all that people used to say, oh, it doesn't matter, once I turn 18 I'll get my life situated, is not true. You know, it's okay to have fun, but it's not cool being involved in gangs. I had a lot of friends get killed in front of me, and you know, just stay straight, man. And right now here in Miami, we have the opportunity like these, you know, training places, like, you know, Carlson Gracie, Miami, American Top Team. When I was growing up, we didn't have this, so we didn't have no choice but to be in the street looking for trouble. You know, now there's no excuse for kids. Stay out of trouble, leave the drugs alone, and just do something positive with your life.
Any sports that you did in high school?
High school, no, I didn't do no sports in high school.
Teams or other sport that you were interested
When I was younger, I mean, I was always involved in sports. I played soccer, I played baseball, I played football, basketball. I wrestled in middle school. Here in Miami, I wrestled for Richmond Heights Middle School and then Hammocks Middle School. But of course, because of my conduct and, you know, me being a troublemaker in school, I got kicked out of school, and you know, I couldn't keep going with the sports. I boxed also for a couple of years, and then now I do this.
Talking about your jiu-jitsu experience, what people have you met that you think are memorable?
Oh man, I've had the privilege to meet a lot of great fighters in Las Vegas. I've met Antonio Minotauro Nogueira. I met Amari Betita, which is a black belt under Carlson Gracie. Bobel Duarte, which is the head instructor of Brazilian Top Team. Hino Duarte, that he's one of the instructors at American Top Team over here in Cape Coral, I think, or Coconut Creek. You know, Renato Tavares, black belt under Carlson Gracie. He fights MMA too. Forrest Griffin used to be my MMA coach until they signed him up for the fight with Shogun. Then he started training full time. I've trained with Stephen Bonner, you know, and a bunch of other guys from WEC that I know them by first name basis. I can never get their last names right.
So, your instructor, his name was?
My instructor's name is Ricardo Cavalcanti. He's a 5th degree black belt under Carlson Gracie, 4th degree black belt in judo.
So as you can see, he has a purple belt. What does the stripe represent?
The stripes basically are given by your instructors. The way we do it in our academy is for the tournaments that you have won, and since you've had that rank. Okay, in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for the adult rankings, the ranks are white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, and black. Okay, all the belts until you get to black, they can get stripes. They can't have more than four stripes. By the IBJJF requirements, which IBJJF stands for International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation, the requirements are if you have 3 or 4 stripes on your belt already, you qualify to test for the next rank. So at this moment, I'm qualified to be a brown belt. Also by the IBJJF requirements, I am qualified to be an instructor or assistant instructor under my instructor, which I am. I've had the privilege, I've been an instructor for a year now. Assistant instructor for Carlson Gracie Team Las Vegas under Ricardo Cavalcanti.
Motivations that got you into a sport other than what you mentioned before?
I mean, like I said, the sport, I've always liked it, you know, and what helped me out more to stay in the sport was my instructor. Ricardo Cavalcanti, he's been more than just an instructor to me, and you know, he's like a father to me. You know, he's been there for me. He's helped me out in hard times, financially. You know, a lot of places, if you don't have money, you can't train. You know, my instructor, he told me that he prefers to see me training than paying, you know, than not coming to train because I'm broke. And unfortunately, you know, things are rough right now. Like I said, I have a record, so a lot of doors get closed in my face. And with my instructor, you know, he's kept me in the gym, and I've been able to teach classes for him and, you know, make my own money on the side giving private classes. You know, I train women, I train kids with Down syndrome, you know, battered women. You know, we show them, you know, self-defense and things like that. You know, young kids that want to be MMA fighters, I have a little MMA program that I do on my own for them that they just want to train MMA.
So mentioning about women, so you recommend the sport for women?
Most definitely. Jiu-Jitsu is meant for the youngest, Jiu-Jitsu is meant for the smallest person, the small person to beat the strong person. You know, the Jiu-Jitsu stands for arte suave, gentle art. And it's not, you don't have to be strong, you don't have to be big. I mean, if you know jiu-jitsu and you have these qualities, then of course it's good, you're going to be a better fighter. But in the street, if an attacker, somebody that attacks you, they're not going to know jiu-jitsu. They're not in our lifestyle. So it's going to be some random bum in the street, and if you know jiu-jitsu, it will save your life.
Talking about the UFC, people my age know that UFC is the most popular championship sport that everyone sees. Have you ever planned to get into it?
I mean, I don't like to get my face bashed in. I want to keep my good looks. But if the opportunity were to ever come, most definitely, I'll get into the UFC. Make some money. Not only about the money, but I get to put our school's name out there. We haven't had anybody put our name out there besides Vitor Belfort, and that was because Carlson was still alive. Now Belfort represents himself, but there's nobody really big in the UFC right now that comes from the Carlson Gracie Academy.
So any extra goals that you would like to accomplish?
I'm looking into opening up a gym, whether it's here in Miami or in Las Vegas, wherever it is that I go to. I want to set up a special program for youth, like an outreach program. For example, these kids that come in and out of juvenile hall, that are on probation. I want to put them into where if I have a certain amount of kids that they're on probation, they won't have to pay for training. They could come train for free. And it's taking a gamble because I'm hoping I have high expectations of it, that I'll be able to reach out to them and get all the negative out of their life, so then when they're off probation, then they could afford to start paying to train. My goal is not about the money. It's about helping the next person. And if I would have had this when I was growing up, it would have saved my mother a lot of heartaches. So now that I'm doing something good with my life, I want to give back. And our life depends on our kids. If we grow up screwed up, we still have a chance that our kids are going to come out okay. And we need to put things out here in these communities to make that happen.
So any self-messages or metaphors that you like to share?
Yes, definitely. First off, you can't do anything without God. You need God in your life. No matter how hard you try to make your decisions, it's not going to happen if you don't have God in your life. Okay? Also, one that is very important to me that my instructor told me is, if you want to be a champion in the sport, for those that compete and fight, if you party and drink and live that lifestyle, that's fine. That's up to you. That's only your life going down the drain. You could be the best party animal in the world, or you could be the best champion in the world. In order for you to do that, you can't serve two gods. You want to be successful in this sport, be loyal to it. Stop the drinking, stop the smoking, stop the drugs. Stop hanging out with your friends. Your friends don't give a damn about you. Your true family that I found is the family that I found besides my own. It's been in the gym. This is my temple, and I feel at peace when I'm at the gym.
Any injuries that you had doing the sport?
Oh man, when I first started back in '06, I torn my ACL and MCL ligaments on my right knee, and I have some liquid. My leg was hyperextended backwards. Then June of 2008, I tore my ACL on my left knee. December of 2009, I broke 4 ribs. And then just last May, I dislocated my elbow, broke my funny bone.
Alright, so now we know.
Now we know.
So thanks for doing the interview.
Kevin, thank you, man, and always remember, nothing's more important than jiu-jitsu, okay?
So I hope seeing you in any important tournaments. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Alright.
Us.